his ass off right
I
now.
bet he is.
That's hilarious.
Everybody gets a lawsuit.
That's funny. Aaron's like, did you make that? That's hilarious.
Oh, look at all the friends in the chat. Hi, friends. Who's here? What up, Scott? Christina? Yuvonda? Jessica Sykes, Heart Whisper, Mary Maya, Lynn Yali, Laura Petrie, Becky Lou. What up, Leyland? What up, Foxhole fam? Hey, DLive peeps, Twitch peeps. I can't see you, but I can feel your presence, man. I can feel your presence. Glad you're here.
What up? What up, guys?
Yeah, about time you said something.
Hola, ¿qué estás haciendo? What's up? How's it going? Friday night.
Yeah, whoop whoop. All right, what up, Tree Wade? All right, let's do our little intro, sir. Oh, frightening me, no notification. YouTube not sending out notifications. Fucking imagine that. What up, Deborah R, Nick Walls?
Let me see if I got one.
Yeah, see if you got one. And while you do that, we're gonna go to this.
13 seconds ago I did, yeah.
Oh, shucky.
Watch Loyal to the Foil, but don't believe anything she says. Do your own research for yourself. Don't let other people think for you.
Yeah, buddy. Definitely don't believe anything I have to say. That's for damn sure. What is up, peeps? Happy Friday. Yes, Belushi, I am alive. I am still alive. Imagine that. Thank you for the cookie. Thank you, Nick Walls, coming in with the cookies. Guys, you know I appreciate the gold pill love. Happy Friday. So glad you guys are here. What up, Tyler Kiwala? How are you?
What up, yo? I'm good. I'm good.
Are you psyched?
I am psyched.
I'm
also psyched. I'm going to ask you if you can play the new promo I made for our conference because I'm excited about it.
Yeah, buddy. Check this out, guys. Good job on that. And I like the little creepy alien dudes at the end. Thank you, Belushi, for the 417 gold pills and Shanjo for the cookie. Lord knows I need them. Much appreciated. Yeah, so I'm excited about the conference. You want to tell them a little bit about what's going on right quick?
Right. First of all,
First of all,
that was, I'm actually, That was a lot of fun making that promo, by the way. Uh, it's, I started getting into, when I quit construction, I started getting into video editing, self-taught, and now it's becoming like really fun when I get to do stuff like that. So,
Yeah, you made my
um,
intro video. That thing's awesome.
right. So if anybody needs me to do any intros or editing for them, hit me up.
Hit him up.
Anyway, yeah, it's coming up. Like we're like less than 90 days away, May 2nd through the 5th, Grafton, Illinois. It's going to be fun. I know it's going to be awesome. More and more people are jumping on board. Uh, Tickets are starting to sell, so it's just I can feel the buzz getting
Exciting.
created around it. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
should be a nice road trip. Looking forward to it. Got to get with Laura and see what exactly it is that we're doing because I have no idea, but that's okay. We will figure it out. We will figure it out.
Just set up a Space Force news booth and
Yeah, maybe
whatever.
interview some
Do some
people, talk some
do
smack,
some live
right?
do a live
Yeah,
show. Doesn't have to be on Sunday. Whatever.
right. Be
Uh,
something. Do you have to be
right.
vaxxed to go? No.
No. No.
Right? I will answer that on your behalf, Tylena.
Right.
Absolutely not. No, it is open to all.
No mask. No vax. No problem.
There you go. There should be a sign that says that, like, no shirt, no
I
shoes, no service, no
right. I know.
mask, no vax, no problem. Right? I'm with that. I'm with that. Yeah, what else? So, you showed me something crazy today, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
it looks like I don't know if this was posted like a day ago or 2 days ago, but it's really like just from the play numbers on it, looks like it's picking up steam. So there was a guy, his name was what, Ben Gordon, right,
Hmm.
in Arizona, who got into a car accident, and he like the glass broke and he was all messed up from the glass. He says, as a matter of fact, I'm not even gonna tell you what he says. Why don't you roll that beautiful bean footage,
Oh, you
Tylena?
want me to play it?
Yeah, I gave you the keys. Just show them. You show them.
Well,
Because this
I
this is a conspiracy
I wasn't
theory for
ready for
sure.
this.
Oh, look at
Keep
you. Okay, well I will
um,
tell you what he said. So dude was in a car accident, right? As they're putting him in the ambulance, they give him some kind of a sedative. Now, allegedly. I'll just go with allegedly because it is what it is. They give
well,
him
this is
some
what
kind
he
of a
says.
sedative.
This is what he
Yes.
this is what he says.
I mean,
Hang on.
he
Well, yeah,
seems
okay.
legit, right? He seems legit. Um so they give him some kind of a sedative. He wakes up, and I don't know if he said how long he was in the hospital. Yet, right, based on a true story. I don't know how long he said he was in the hospital, but he woke up on a vent, right? After a car accident, they tell him he's like he pulls the vent out, yokes his IVs out, goes out like what wanting to know what the hell is happening here. They said, "Well, you have COVID." He's like, "I don't. What are you talking about? Like I was in a car accident. Like this is some shenanigans. Ain't nobody trying to, ain't nobody got time for all this, right?" They won't give him any of his paperwork, any of his information. The story is just crazy. And I mean, the dude's got legit injuries from a car accident. Like I said, it seems legit. And if
Do you want me to play it?
yeah, if you can pull it and play it, it's a couple of minutes. I want to know what you guys think.
Well, it's gonna kill the mood because it's kind of sad if it's true.
Oh Lord.
But I have some theories. It's this sounds like well, I'll talk about it after I play it. Let me see if I can get it pulled up real quick. Just bear with me. I told you I could play it, and I didn't even have it
Right?
ready.
And
So,
look at you, ill prepared, sir. Ill prepared.
and I don't know how the. Oh, come on.
Maybe
Just
we're
bear-
gonna watch this video, right? If not, it's all right. But I just felt like this was a true conspiracy here. Like potentially, allegedly, a conspiracy here. And I thought maybe we could talk about it. Thanks, Wonder Mod, for posting the links. Oh,
All right.
all right, there
Let's
we go.
see.
Let me get us out of the way. There it is.
First of all, and let me know if you can hear this too.
Hey there, my name is Ben. 2 days ago, I was in a car crash. It was just my car, it rolled and I don't know what happened. I came to, the car was back on all four wheels. All the glass in the car was blown out. I got cut up, you know, all around, nothing serious. I was awake and aware that I couldn't open the car. Within 10 minutes, EMT arrived and injected me with something. And I said, no, 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 no. No, they're like, oh, just gonna sedate you, boss. I woke up 8 hours later somehow with a vent, a mechanical ventilator, IV, catheter, a whole 9 yards. I instinctively, without even thinking, something, I said, no. Pulled out the vent. There was no aid in this room with me. Pulled out the IV, pulled out the catheter, which was horrendous. And I found my shorts, which had been cut off me, and I covered my junk because I was naked. And I walked to the door and I opened it, and staff was sitting there, and I said, why did you vent me? And the staff freaked out. They couldn't believe I was awake. They followed me back into the room. I sat on the bed and I said, what drugs did you give me and why am I vented? And one of the nurses said, you have COVID. And I said, even if you tested positive for COVID, if I tested positive for COVID, a vent is the last resort for someone who cannot breathe on their own. They just looked at each other like, what do we do? What do we say? And I said, what drugs did you put me on? What was coming through that IV? And they said, propofol, fentanyl, morphine. And I was like, why? What? Like, you were going to kill me on that machine. You were going to leave me there. They just looked at each other. I go, I want all the paperwork. I want everything that's been done to me and who authorized it. They didn't give it to me. I demanded a lawyer. I said I need a lawyer now. I'm leaving this place. They argued with me for 45 minutes. And then once I could show them that I could produce urine, they found some old raggy hospital clothes and gave them and took me to a door, which was not a glass sliding door. It didn't even look like a hospital. This is in Flagstaff. They airlifted me from about an hour away. I was under from the time I was injected at the site of the crash. And I somehow miraculously came to and immediately took everything out. I'm trying desperately to get a hold of Del Bigtree or Alex Jones or Mike Adams or anybody that has a platform to share my story. It's new. I want to do it well. I still have this. I just sent a certified letter for medical release forms. We'll see what's on that. They got a hold of a family member somehow, even though they didn't have my ID and I was tagged as John Doe. They told my family that I had a broken nose. I haven't blown my nose once since I left there. There's no blood. There's no swelling. There's no, there's the same kind of junk that's all over from the glass. Why would they tell my family that my nose was broken and that I had, quote, acute pancreatitis, which from what I've read is extremely painful and a progressive illness. I've never had a stomach ache. I've never had any pain from my pancreas. They said nothing to my family about me being vented for COVID, but that's what they told me. I think that they had no intention for me to ever wake up, and I would have been classified and counted as someone that died of COVID in the hospital. And as you can see, I mean, everything works. I just walked 3 miles today. I was not injured, no surgery. They could have vented me if there was a pretty heavy duty surgery, for sure. No surgeries were performed. You have COVID. Please get this out for me. I've written to everyone and I've received no replies. It's only been a couple days, but I'm freaking out, as I'm sure you can understand. I sincerely need this story to be heard. Thank you so much, and I'm so happy to be alive. I can't believe I woke up. Thank you. Hey there. My name is Ben.
All right.
2 days ago,
Sorry.
So what I will say about this is if that shit happened to me and I woke up, my first thought is not going to be like, somebody get me Alex Jones, right? As much as as much as I love AJ, right? I wake up in the hospital and it's all kind of shit going on. That is not the first call I'm making. Like, somebody hurry and call Alex.
Well, I don't think he was in the hospital when he had that thought. I think that came after the fact when he's trying to get his story heard. But
Oh,
to
PC
me,
says he spoke with Stu Peters. Did he?
I don't know.
That's a crazy story though. I mean, if that happened, that just makes you like, how many other times has this happened? That is a crazy.
Well, this to me sounds like an act of war. Like this reminds me of what we hear a lot when we hear about alien abductions. People, well, for one, you wake up in a hospital room. He said it didn't look like a normal hospital. It's almost like, and the way he described his wreck, he didn't know what happened. The vehicle rolled, and the EMTs that arrived, that team was probably assigned to him. They probably did something to cause him to wreck. You never know. Like these could be people could be targeted. So I'm thinking that he was targeted. They staged the wreck. They had the EMTs ready. A specific group. They probably wasn't affiliated with any hospital. They sedated him, flew him to this facility in Flagstaff, where they have who knows what going on, where they're murdering people under the guise of COVID.
Right,
And
allegedly.
allegedly, yeah. So, and then you heard the story. He's like, it didn't even look like a hospital. They gave a bullshit. Like the whole thing reminds me of an alien abduction scenario or a my lab abduction.
Right? So I want Norm Williams is just wow, I believe him. Thank you, Capable, for the cookie. What up, bruh? Much love for the cookie, sir. Yeah, that I don't know. I'm not crazy story. We wanted to let you guys see it. Yeah, I see people asking. I think where'd you pull that from? BitChute?
BitChute. It's the only place I know where it's at, and it was sent to me privately by a friend. I don't know how he found it, but I imagine it's making its rounds all over the internet right now.
Yeah,
So.
I had like 50,000 eyes on it earlier. I mean, I spent a few minutes trying to kind of verify it, but I was in the middle of work and I just wanted to see what I could find. I couldn't find anything
Right.
but that. But that is a crazy story, and he seemed pretty serious about it.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
Let's do some questions.
Do some questions, right? All right, I got one for you. So, have you heard that real soon here there's a SpaceX rocket booster that is going to be smashing into the moon? Okay, this thing was launched in February of 2015 from Cape Canaveral. It was part of the launch for the Deep Space Climate Observatory, but it's kind of been floating around in space ever since. For like 7 years, this thing has just been up there hurtling. Well, apparently, in the next couple of weeks, it is supposed to, on March 4th, allegedly, it is supposed to smash into the moon. And it got me to thinking, okay, Apollo 12 deliberately crashed its ascent stage into the moon. I don't know if you remember that, but this brings me to my question. When Apollo 12 deliberately crashed its ascent stage into the moon, what happened? A, it revealed metal under the surface. B, it punched a hole through the surface. C, it rang like a bell. Or D, it moved off its orbit.
C, final answer.
Final answer. Thanks, UFO Mark, for the super chat. Much love to you.
And I don't think nothing's crashing on the moon in March. I think it's a cover story for like to hide. I don't know. Maybe they're gonna nuke a base up there or something.
Remember they crashed the tardigrades into the moon. I'm still
Right,
convinced that the tardigrades have now taken over the moon. I'm excited to see what happens with that. Let's see, what do we got? C. Everybody going with C, right? Yes, guys. Yes, it did. Rang like a damn bell, of course, which is why people really wonder what's going on with the moon, right? I mean, this is one of the best pieces of evidence we have for the moon not being, some sort of planet, rock. It's not just a rock, right? We wonder because
Right.
apparently between 1969 and 1977 they went up and installed seismometers on the moon. The Apollo missions did this. They were recording moonquakes. When they crashed this ascent stage into the moon, it rang like a bell for like over an hour. And I mean, this was listed. I mean, they talked about this in Popular Science. There were
Right.
there were a lot of like it got a lot of mainstream media coverage, and it led to arguments that the moon must be hollow, like a bell, right? Um, Now, I will say that they've done some seismology experiments on the moon since then that I mean, they showed that moonquakes, these kind of quakes don't behave the same as they do on Earth, which makes sense, but I still wonder, like, why would it ring like that? I wonder what will happen when the SpaceX rocket smashes into the moon. Are we going to see the same thing? Like, that's really what I'm curious about. What up, Wingman? Good to see you.
Well, they're probably going to use it as an excuse for some sort of disclosure. I would only imagine, like Melody said, they're going to crash into the moon. They find something, but like what William Tompkins said, first of all, it's not our moon. Second of all, it's not a moon. And it's like we have all these tons of whistleblowers, tons of testimony at this point, all stating that it's some sort of satellite, that it was brought here.
Right.
It actually has like some form of thrusters. It can actually travel.
Death Star, right?
Yeah,
Who
right.
just said that? Nick Walls, right? Death Star,
And
totally.
if you believe any of the SSP testimonies, all of them explain it being it's basically hollow. There's tens of thousands, if not more, people living inside the moon. It's an entire civilization under there. There's ancient lava tubes. There's old ruins. It's totally
Moon
insane.
Nazis, all of that,
Right.
right? Thanks, Joan of Sark, for the cookie.
Well,
Yeah,
the Nazis would be the
right,
Germans who fled there during World War II, allegedly.
right. That's no moon. That's right. It's crazy. So I'm really excited to see what kind of shenanigans we get. And as far as like disclosure, I mean, wasn't it? I think it was this show. I don't know if it was this show or Space Force News, which is back, guys. So if you didn't watch on Sunday, you need to go watch the replay, and we will see you this Sunday. Um, we were talking about how they found evidence of bugs on Mars, some sort of bacterial life. They don't want to call it life yet, but they found this specific type of carbon. Um, they're giving us little bits, little tidbits all the time, you know,
Mm-hmm.
all the
They
time.
they are. All
Uh,
right. Well, here we go. If anybody has been following me on social media or watched our last episode, you already know the answer to this. But for those who haven't, according to SSP whistleblower Penny Bradley, Elon Musk's supposed SpaceX launch on December 23rd, 2017, was actually Earth military testing out which new technology? A, anti-gravitics. B, EM drive capabilities. C, mass reduction device. D, particle beam weaponry. So, according to SSP whistleblower Penny Bradley, Elon Musk's supposed SpaceX launch on December 23rd, 2017, was actually Earth military testing out which new technology? A, anti-gravitics. B, EM drive capabilities. C, mass reduction device. D, particle beam weaponry.
Now I feel like an asshat because I didn't see that episode. I'm
It's
gonna
all
go.
right.
I'm gonna go with D. I'm gonna go with D. Thank you, Julie65 for the cookie and Sean Joe for the cookie. Much love to you guys. Successful Sarah said it was an awesome episode. And congratulations to you, ma'am. Oh, everybody's saying B. I'm clearly
B.
way wrong.
So the answer is, in fact, E, Space Mouse. Amanda
Space
is awake
Mouse, obviously.
for the win. Amanda is awake for the win. It is B, EM drive. And I actually have that clip on hand if you want to watch it real quick.
Bring it.
Might as well. I could either explain it to you or you'd let her explain it, which would make a lot more sense.
There you go. Play it, right? I mean, we've seen some good, actually solid science behind the theory of an EM drive, and the idea that they wouldn't be able to make it functional or that they wouldn't be able to get it to work with the proper amount of thrust and all of this, I think is shenanigans.
here we go. Sorry to those who have already seen this, but you're going to see it again. All right, let me make sure volume's up. And here we go.
We had the hyperspace engine, of course. What they're calling the EM drive. We called it the copper microwave, where you make a bell out of copper and you hit it with microwaves and it produces force. If you're in an atmosphere and you need to open a portal, that's the way to do it, because when you open that, it forms this teardrop shaped field, and inside of that you can open a portal and it won't suck the atmosphere through it. It's safe to go into hyperspace inside that. If there's no substances, it closes right behind us. It's the field that's produced by the EM drive. It makes a shielding. Elon Musk had this launch that was supposed to be a big failure. He was supposed to be putting this satellite into space. And I saw this teardrop field form and I went, oh my God. And then I saw the spiral in it. That's an EM ship. There was one in Florida, one in California, and there was one in Russia, and there was one in China. Earth level military has that level of technology now. The big three have just tested it. And I could just imagine all the generals doing a happy dance, because that's incredible technology. The cover story was that they were putting a satellite in orbit and that it had basically failed at the second stage. It wasn't even that, it was testing this engine. All 4 times that I saw it tested, it did exactly what it was supposed to do. You have it.
Anyway.
So then that is not just a rocket stage spinning out. It's actually creating some sort of a portal, a vortex of sorts,
and
with
the
which they can jump.
And the teardrop is creating an atmosphere so that it doesn't suck anything else in through that portal. It isolates the portal, is what she's saying.
And Penny Bradley, she worked on this, or?
She has an incredible testimony from Secret Space Program testimony, just being involved in the programs. But yeah, she was, I don't know if she was a pilot, but she worked on all this type of technology. Yeah.
That's crazy. What up, Spazza Yeti? Good to see you. Yes, Alara. Elon apparently is in on all this shit. Alara's in the Foxhole, guys, if you're wondering where I am talking to her at. Yeah, that's crazy. Definitely go check that video out. That was this week. That's what you guys just did.
Right. Yeah, we kind of elaborated on that a little more in the episode, but we were all over the place in that episode. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
But the link to her full interview, the one you just listened to, is in the description of that episode if anybody wants to watch the whole thing, because it's absolutely fascinating. Fearless said, DM me the episode. Just go on under our latest episode and it's in the video description. And then go to that channel that the video's on and just watch all the videos and have your mind blown.
Well, Andy, welcome for your first time. Good to see you. And yeah, shrubberies, guys, always important. Yeah, that's crazy, dude. That is definitely crazy. I'm with it. All right. Switching gears a little bit. Conspiracists claim that Kate Middleton, when posing with newborn Prince Louis, intentionally wore a dress from what movie? Right? This is Kate Middleton, right? We're talking about definitely not the Lizard Royals, right? They're definitely not lizards, guys. I'm not saying that they're lizards. They're lizards.
Kate Lizardton?
Right, Kate Lizardton. When posing with newborn Prince Louis, intentionally wore a dress from what movie? Was it A, The Omen, B, Rosemary's Baby, C, Insidious, or D, Eyes Wide Shut?
I'm going to go with D, but I don't actually know.
Yeah, this is you can't tell me this shit wasn't on purpose. And I'm going to show you guys because I already had it pulled up and I don't have to click on anything.
I feel like I've heard this story before. I don't think I retained it. Um,
Oh, it's wild. They tried to compare the dress to Princess Diana, right?
okay, I have heard this then.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like a bespoke Jenny Packham frock, but let's see. What do we got? What do we got? People saying Rosemary's, but good job, guys. Yes, Rosemary's Baby, right?
I've never seen that.
Look at this shit. You can't tell me that wasn't on purpose, right? Or if it, you, how do you mess that up? Like these people have people that dress them, right? Like how do you make that kind of a mistake? Like that is some creepy shit right there. Can you see
I
it?
don't get. Not yet. I have to
Oh,
wait for
you
the
got the
delay.
delay, right? Yeah. And what's crazy is that this isn't even the first time that she's drawn comparisons to Rosemary's Baby. All right. And if, for those of you that don't know, Mia Farrow in the movie was impregnated with Satan's child by a coven of witches. Okay? Just to give you some backstory here. All
Yeah,
right.
that's no coincidence.
Yeah, look at that. Thanks, Spazzo Yeti, for the 1,000 gold pills. Much love to you. Yeah, impregnated
Yeah,
with the child
actually
of
makes me
Satan.
sick
Isn't
looking
that
at that
crazy?
picture.
Hold on, hold on. So this isn't even the first time, right? There was another time, apparently at Princess Charlotte's 2015 christening, she pushed her daughter into a church in the retro. Do I got a picture of it? The retro. Look at that. They try to compare it to this. This is not this, guys. This is clearly this. She pushed her kid in this retro pram, like the little, oh, there it is, baby buggy. Look at that shit, just like from the movie.
Yeah, Fearless said she did not have a baby. It was all fake. Definitely, I think her baby was like grown in a pod somewhere, artificial womb. I
Right, grown
definitely,
in a pod,
I'm
something,
not kidding.
something.
Or it was hatched out of an egg with the with the other reptilians. Apparently, that's how reptilians are born. I
Ah, was
mean, they're
hatched. Yeah,
hatched.
probably. But I mean, look
I'm
at
not
this.
joking. We laugh about this shit, but
I
there's a
know, I know,
reason.
we
There's a
do.
reason that she actually wasn't pregnant. Did they? And there was. She was still given a child. This is part of some sort of black magic.
Conspiracy,
Yeah, bullshit. Whatever.
right?
Um,
Look at this though. Look at the stroller, man. If you're pushing your kid in this, you got problems. You
right.
got you got problems, man. But that's
Right.
that's crazy. I mean, just
That's what we call mind control
bruh.
family.
I mean, this
The
right
royal
here.
bloodline. Yeah.
Even the lace around the collar is the same.
Yep.
You
Get
know,
out of here with that shit. Get
yeah,
out of
it's
here.
get out of here. It's wild. It's wild. So
All
I
right.
thought you guys would appreciate that. A little bit of weirdness.
Here's a fun one. According to Greek legend, the creation of the Milky Way was not created from the Big Bang, but was actually created from what?
Hmm,
A, milk from an extraterrestrial cattle.
obviously.
B, the remnants of an ancient space battle.
Hmm.
C, breast milk from the Greek goddess Hera. D, tears from the creator god Phanes. And Phanes is spelled with PH.
So we're all about the bodily fluids in this question, I see. Right? Cow milk, breast milk, tears.
According to Greek legend, the creation of the Milky Way was not created from the Big Bang, was actually created from what? Milk from an extraterrestrial cattle, the remnants of an ancient space battle, breast milk from the Greek goddess Hera, the tears from the creator god Phanes.
I feel like I should know this, but I don't. I'm kind of disappointed in myself. I'm gonna go with. I'll go with breast milk, just because. Because you had,
Breast,
yeah, you had alien cow, so I'm gonna go with breast milk from
see,
Hera.
that's good. That's good thinking. Um, yes, the answer is in fact breast milk.
Woo,
See,
woo, right? Look at that.
so the creation of the Milky Way. The motherly instincts of Hera kicked in when she saw the baby and taking the boy from Athena and started to nurse him. Heracles would happily suckle on the nipple of Hera, but as he did so, he sucked too hard and in pain, Hera removed the baby from her nipple. As Hera did so, the motherly milk of her sprayed out into the heavens, creating the Milky Way.
Oh, well, that makes perfect sense to me. I mean, it makes
Right,
perfect sense, right?
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything comes from breast milk, apparently. I'm with it. I'm with it.
Um,
Yeah, it looked like a lot of people had got that right. There you go. Yeah, the answer is always either lizards or breast milk on this channel, guys. Always.
Yeah, always either lizards or breast milk.
Right? Lizards with breast. Do you remember the lizard statues that were breastfeeding?
Yes,
So it could
I
be
have seen them.
lizard breast milk, man.
It could be.
Could be. I don't
We don't
know.
know.
Right?
I
I
don't know,
don't know.
but if somebody's that bit has that much milk inside of them to create an entire Milky Way galaxy, then
They
that's
gotta
pretty
have
impressive.
some big ass titties, man.
Right.
I'm just saying. I'm just
Heracles
saying.
had some Heracles-sized titties.
Right? They were huge. Right? I hear Alara laughing in the other room. All right. I got another one for you guys. And I even got something else to show you, right? We got a lot of things to show tonight. I like that. What type of aircraft did conspiracists discover in craters on both the moon and on the asteroid Ceres? Okay, what type of aircraft, spacecraft in this case, did conspiracists discover in craters on both the moon and the asteroid Ceres? Was it A, a Phoenix warp ship, B, an XD-1 planetary explorer, C, a Cygnus-class Palomino vessel, or D, a TR-3B?
I'm gonna go with A.
Final answer?
Yeah, but I don't know, and I can't believe I've never heard this actually.
Right? It's crazy.
It could
Hopefully
be
I can.
B and C. I think you made up. Maybe not. But D could be also. We know the TR3B
Yeah,
exists,
I
so
need to be
that's
in
plausible.
I need to be in the spacecraft naming industry. I'm convinced. Right?
Right.
Yeah, so what was it, guys? Was it a Phoenix warp ship? Was it an XD-1 planetary explorer? Was it a Cygnus-class Palomino vessel or TR-3B?
C. I don't know. C sounds funny to me.
Cygnus-class Palomino vessel? That
Right.
sounds official, man. Sounds official. It is D. It is D. They were TR-3Bs, and I have some shit to show you. Hopefully, it's kind of crazy. So apparently, now Secure Team 10 is the one that found. So Tyler Glockner is the one that found the TR-3B. They were images on the lunar surface. They were from the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter camera that was, mounted on the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, and it showed this thing sitting in a crater. I'm gonna click on this. We're gonna see what
This was
happens.
from the documentary that I didn't watch, probably, right?
Well, I don't know. This was found a long time. When is this article? This is
Okay.
from
But
2015.
this was this in the
It might have
documentary
been.
that Laura was in?
It might have been Alara. Yeah. If you was this in the
Darcy Weir.
documentary?
It's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah. If you haven't seen the documentary that Alara is in, guys, go check it out. It's called Rise of the TR-3B. Yes, like Tyler said, the link, you can get it on Amazon Prime. It's actually really well done, so definitely check that out. Let me see if I can make this.
I keep scrolling past it. I haven't watched it. I'm gonna have to give it a shot.
There you go. Here, I'm just gonna pause it so you guys can see. Maybe I don't know if you can see that, like when it pulls up for you. I'm scared to make it
I
big
see
because
it.
God knows what'll happen. But I mean, you can't tell me that's like a natural formation in the crater. Come on, man.
No, but that's also not an accurate depiction of the TR3B unless I'm looking
Well,
at
if
something
it's
different.
covered with all kind of lunar dust and shit, like who knows? Maybe it's
Right.
been up there for a minute or
It's certainly a triangle craft.
right. And then there was also one found on Ceres, and I want to say Scott Waring found this. Hold on. Oh no, maybe it was Tyler found this one too. And this one, I don't know. This looks like the bat symbol to me, or maybe the bat wing. Where's it at? I don't know if you guys can. He zooms in. Can you see that? There, it looks like a bat almost.
I'm delayed, so I'm just gonna have to pretend like I know what you're
But
talking about.
they're claiming that these are TR-3Bs. I can see where it might be a triangular craft. It looks very similar to the one on the moon. Yes, Filter Dog Alara is in a documentary, right? Done by Darcy Weir. It was really well done. She shared.
I see it. That does look like a bat.
Don't it? I can see where there might be a triangular point there, possibly. Like maybe it's a full triangle. I don't know.
Well, there's other triangle crafts besides the TR3B. That's just the only name that we have
that anybody knows, right?
Right. Exactly. So it could be. I mean, and B is like A. There's apparently they're classed like A
Oh
through
yeah, right. That would make sense.
B, C, D,
Somebody was
E.
saying
Yeah.
we were up
Or
to
no, or
like
maybe it's TR3. Or no, maybe it's the numbers TR4B, TR5B. Somebody said they're all the way up to 6B now. I don't know.
something. Yeah, I saw that the other day. Yeah. So Alara told her story and shared her TR3B footage from when she was at, what was it, Contact in the Desert, I think,
Mhm.
the video she had shared.
Right. That's incredible footage too.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really good footage. She caught.
It's incredible because I know the person. Like I love when we get footage from somebody I know that
Yeah,
I
you
know
know it's
for a
legit.
fact
Right.
that yeah. Like I love that. And it's excellent footage.
Right. Right. I thought you guys might like that. So yeah,
And sorry, it's not questionable. Like it is straight
no,
up
no,
a
no, no,
black
no.
TR3B.
Yes.
Like
Yeah,
that's what I
you
like
can see
about
it.
it. It's not like, oh, I don't know, maybe, maybe not. Like, no, that's she
Right?
got it
If
on
I had
film.
it, I
Yeah.
would show it to you guys. But yeah, for sure. There's nothing questionable about that footage.
Yeah,
Uh,
we need to have that one on file.
honest to God. So yeah, it was not the Cygnus class Palomino vessel. Obviously, it was some sort of triangular craft that we will call a TR-3B, for lack of a better term.
All right. Ready for the next question.
Bring it.
Known as the grandfather of all conspiracy theories, the Dulce Wars is apparently an underground battle that took place in the late 70s between which three races of beings?
Lizards.
A. The Greys, reptilians, and Pleiadians. B. The Greys, tall whites, and humans. C. Arcturians, reptilians, and Greys. D. Humans, Greys, and reptilians.
I'm going with D. I feel like I know this one, right?
Known as the grandfather of all conspiracy theories, the Dulce Wars is apparently an underground battle that took place in the late 70s between which three races?
Alara's trying to tell me she'll send me the trailer for that movie, but if I have to click on something I didn't already have clicked, it's going to be catastrophe. It's going to be shenanigans.
So I'll read them one more time. A. Greys, reptilians, Pleiadians. B. Greys, tall whites, humans. C. Arcturians, reptilians, Greys. D. Humans, Greys, reptilians.
Yeah, it's always lizards, and I'm going with Greys and humans. Because Phil Schneider.
Refer to
That's why.
my textbook here for
there
this
you go,
one.
right? Is that the book from the guy?
Yeah.
That's the one?
Mm-hmm. The book from the guy.
The book
that
from
guy.
That guy. That one guy.
So it seems like D is across the board. Yes, that is the answer.
Woohoo!
So I'm just gonna have to read you straight from this book because I couldn't find this online.
Go ahead, Professor Kiwala.
First of all, what was going on at the time? So there's a scientist.
No. That's not how you start a story, Tyler. You start with what had happened was. What had happened was.
What had happened was.
Much better.
So there was a scientist who was who got a job working at the underground base in Dulce, New Mexico, and he saw them doing a bunch of genetic experiments on humans. And he was told that these were mentally challenged people who were had no life, and they were using these people to experiment on them. But the truth was that this was the ongoing thing underground. They would call it the big lie. And this was the reptilians underground were pushing this big lie. And these were actually people that had been abducted from the surface, all the people on the milk cartons and all the above, innocent people, anybody who's gone missing. And this doctor realized this stuff. And it became, he was trying to like spread the word and put a stop to this. And anyway, it was a battle between the humans and reptilians and Greys. Literally a physical battle broke out underground, and I'll read about it. In 1978, tensions within the Dulce base were extremely heightened. Several security and lab technicians began to sabotage the genetic experiments. Increasingly frail nerves and paranoia finally erupted into what was commonly referred to as the Dulce Wars. It was a literal battle between the reptilians and the humans and Greys for the control of the Dulce base. It was the reptilians more than the humans that were pushing the big lie and insisted on using humans in their experiments. And those who did not survive the experiments were used as sources for the liquid protein tanks, which fed both embryonic gray, oh, sorry, which fed both embryonic gray fetuses as well as full-grown grays
Dear
as a
God.
source of nourishment. So yeah, that's disgusting in itself. So the experiments that failed were fed to the grays, basically. No one is exactly sure how it started, but we do know through Thomas's account that it involved the base security forces armed with beam weapons known as flash guns, machine gun toting U.S. military personnel, and the gray alien species who had apparently had turned the base security forces and U.S. military forces against each other. When the smoke cleared, 68 humans had been killed, 22 were completely vaporized, and 19 escaped via tunnels. 7 were recaptured, and 12 remain in hiding this day. Thomas returned to his post, awaiting the planning of his own escape. It goes on, but there's tons more.
That's
Actually,
wild. Alara says we sound like conspiracy theorists.
right.
You think?
Um,
Thank you guys for all the cookies. Thank you, Sean Joe, Amethyst Cat, Asti Ball, and CK Whitehorse. Love it. Much appreciated. Yeah, so the Dulce thing is one of those never-ending rabbit holes that leaves me mildly terrified every time I think about it. I mean, we have talked about everything from them making fake blood substitutes to what cloning there. What other horrific shit are they supposed to be doing over there?
all I there's um auric energy fields. They're testing the auric energy fields of humans, astral or spirit body voyaging and manipulation, psi studies, whatever, psychic studies, I
Yeah,
guess,
probably.
advanced mind control analysis and application, human brain memory recognition, acquisition and transfer, matter manipulation, human alien embryonic cloning, rapid human body replicating by use of energy matter transfer, complete with an individual's memory from the computer memory banks and others. This is just one level of the many, between either 7 or 40 levels. There's nobody knows, but there's at least 7. Yeah,
And
but
we were talking before the show, like, I swear, thanks, Stone Roller, for the can. Much love to you. That is one of those places where and man, I wish that I could remember where I either read or heard this, and this is one of my things. You guys know I rock with Jesus, right? So one of the places that they cannot even say his name on the base. Like, apparently there is some physical reaction that the beings have, and the humans that work there, have to sign some sort of agreement that they won't make any utterance of that while they're on
I
the
believe
base.
that. I
It's
believe
crazy.
that. I'm going to read one last part here just to
Yeah,
add to
bring
the
it.
story. So one day Thomas was approached. This was after he had already figured out that these people were being used. One day Thomas was approached by another employee who ushered him into a side hallway. Here he was approached by 2 other gentlemen that whispered the most horrifying words. The men, women, and children that were said to be mentally retarded were in fact heavily sedated victims of abduction. He warned the men that their words and actions could get them in big trouble if he were to turn them in. At this, the old man told Thomas that they were all observing him and noticed that he was too uncomfortable with what he was witnessing. They knew Thomas had a conscience, and blah blah blah. So, and then he goes on to say how he ended up getting caught because the grays there all are telepathic and they know what you're thinking. So he couldn't investigate it without being
Right.
busted. So that's how all this began.
That's
And he
probably
tried
where
to,
all the damn people missing from the forests are ending up. They want to
yeah,
know what book that is.
this is the Dulce Protocol, Robert Tesk. It's literally a massive textbook. And there's
So
another
many,
book.
so many
There's
books.
another book just on the Dulce Wars alone. And I haven't read the other ones, but it goes a lot deeper into these subjects. A lot of it is just, it's a compilation of some declassified documents, some eyewitness testimonies, firsthand accounts, all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of drawings and maps of what people think the base looks like. I haven't made it through the whole thing yet, but there's tons of information on it.
That's great. Yeah, I bet there is tons of information in that big ass textbook, right?
Right.
Right. That's what's up. That's crazy.
All
Uh,
right. Your turn.
my turn. All right. Let's do something a little weird. All right, guys. The CIA used what cryptid to defeat rebels in the Philippines in the 1950s? Okay,
Ooh,
right?
this is a good one.
Yeah, this is crazy, right? It's got a crazy story to it, and it's true. And it's true, right? Not even a theory. This actually happened. The CIA used what cryptid to defeat rebels in the Philippines in the 1950s? Was it A, the Aswang, B, the Yeren, C, the Auli, or D, the Gugwe? I know this
I
sounds
I
crazy, right?
don't I don't know any. I don't know. Can you describe what each one
There are
looks
so
like?
many cryptids, man. Well, I think I addressed maybe two of them, but I don't know. I don't even
A
know.
lot of some of the cryptids come from Dulce. They said that a lot of the genetic
I
experiments were
bet.
they created these cryptids and they had no control over them. They kept them in these
Yeah.
massive
He
cages.
just
And
said, piss on it, let him out,
well,
right?
even Mark Demizio, he's one of the guys that are going to be at our conference. Part of his testimony said they had one of these creatures caged up in Diego Garcia, and they would threaten the slaves like they're going to feed. They would always say, if you don't listen, we're going to feed you to this thing. And he said it was literally something from a sci-fi movie, living in this cage.
That's crazy. That's crazy. All right, guys. Damn, Sean Joe with the win. It was the Aswang. Okay, so a little bit of
The
backstory.
Asswang.
Yeah, I just, it's a thing, right? But I thought it was funny too. The
What
Aswang.
letter was that? Was that B?
That was A. It was
A.
A, right? So this goes back to World War II. So the U.S. gave the, the U.S. granted, very majestically, they granted the Philippines independence in 1946, about 10 months after the end of World War II, right? But of course, there were rebels that wasn't trying to have that, right? So we always talk about like Soviets being experts in disinformation. The CIA was like non-pareil at this point. Like they were the pinnacle of shisty shit. All right. And what had happened was they used the Filipino fear of the Aswang to suppress this Huck rebellion. Okay. So the way that this went down was they would take, so they were fighting this rebel group, the Hucks. They would take the corpses of the dead fighters. The Aswang is something like a vampire, okay? They would poke holes in these corpses' necks, hang them upside down and drain all the blood out, and then leave piles of these bodies that look like they were attacked by this thing. And this was psychological warfare at the time. The Filipinos literally believed that the Aswangs were attacking the Hucks, and so the people did not support the rebellion anymore.
Wow, that's brilliant.
It, I mean, you can't. I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess if no rules
I
in
mean,
war, man. Like if you're trying to
to
win, like that's
somebody, yeah, to somebody who doesn't know any better,
right.
and in a culture that is big on like superstition, it's perfect.
Yeah, I
Like
mean, the
you,
people that
yeah,
were like sympathetic to the rebel cause were like, oh hell no, like the Asswangs are coming. We ain't doing this. I'm
ass
done.
wings.
Right, the
Why
Asswangs.
ass
Right,
wings? That's
the
hilarious.
Asswangs are coming, man. We are done. Right, gave up. Gave up, right? And this is true. I mean, this is like mainstream media true. But I just thought that was crazy. Like they would literally puncture the holes in the neck, drain the blood out, leave the piles, and people thought the asswangs had come.
Right.
They were
Yeah.
pissed. They, so they backed off.
Right. I wonder if that happened anywhere else, like with cattle
Can you
mutilation.
imagine? Right?
Yeah. Well, that's what Stephen Greer says in Unacknowledged, which I think there's partial truths there. But he says all cattle mutilations were done by U.S. by military. Um,
Hey,
but I don't actually know if I believe that. But I think some of them probably were.
well, you hear stories like this and it makes you wonder. I mean, that wasn't all they did. Like they were going to the villages and they were painting this like what they called the eye of God on things, and it was like, even the symbolism was freaking the people out.
The
And
eye of
eventually,
providence.
yeah, like yeah, just like that, right? And even the
Yeah.
symbolism was freaking the people out and they were like, we're done, I'm out. So, Aswang's fair in love and war. That's right, Doridian.
All
Thanks,
right.
Allison, for the shades. Much love to you.
We ready for this next one?
Bring it.
I don't have a whole lot of literature on this next one, so
That's all right.
bear with me. In 1968, the mission Operation Moondust Let me restart that. In 1968, the mission of Operation Moondust was announced to the public as an effort to identify and recover U.S. space hardware which might fall to Earth. According to retired Air Force Captain John Lear, the mission of Operation Moondust was actually to provide cover for what? Let me read that one more time. In 1968, the mission of Operation Moondust was announced to the public as an effort to identify and recover U.S. space hardware which might fall to Earth, I guess from a NASA mission or something. According to retired Air Force Captain John Lear, the mission of Operation Moondust was actually to provide cover for what? A, secret NASA missions to the moon. B, a mining operation on the dark side of the moon. C, the recovery of a downed alien craft. D, the development of DUMBs across the nation.
C.
So what were they trying to cover? Secret NASA missions to the moon, a mining operation on the dark side of the moon, recovery of a downed alien craft, the development of DUMBs across the nation.
I'm going with C. Final answer. What up, Val? Good to see you. I always want to say Valhalla every time I see that, just so you know.
Valhalla?
Yeah, it's
Where?
Valhall, but in my head it's Valhalla every time I see
I don't
it.
see. Is that in a different chat?
Yeah, the Foxhole chat.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
Which,
say.
by the way, while I'm thinking about it, guys, if you're watching on YouTube or DLive or Twitch or Rokfin and you haven't gone to the Foxhole, made the free account, and come to hang out with some super cool people, I don't know what you're doing with your life, right? You need to do that. Just saying.
We have C C C A D C C. I don't know any ass wangs, but it sounds like they would stab you in the back.
That's what I was laughing at. Right.
Yeah, so the answer was, in fact, C. Recovery of a downed alien craft. So they had, obviously, the whole Operation Moondust was made public because they weren't going to be able to hide their actions. They weren't going to be able to hide their missions. So they just said that they were recovering debris, anything that was falling from space, when actually they, so it would give them an excuse to.
Of course.
It was giving them a cover story. Anytime there was a
Right.
down UFO, they can go recover it, and if anybody saw it, they're like, "Oh, that's just part of Operation
It was our
Moondust."
military hardware fell.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to get it. Right.
Right.
It makes sense. Makes
Right.
sense.
And that
It's a good
comes
story.
from
It's a good story.
that comes from the 1987 John Lear report.
Look
Can't
at
see
that.
it.
I think you
But-
sent me that. Did you? Speaking of reports, have you seen
It's on-
the French report? Did you look at any of that shit I sent over to you? You need to.
I haven't looked at shit you sent me.
It's like 300 pages long, but there's a lot of good information. I don't know. I think Laura and I are supposed to talk about it at some point. Not 100% on that. Good info in
Right.
there. You'd appreciate it.
So the mission of Operation Moondust was to provide a cover which would neutralize public curiosity while recovery of an alien craft was being conducted. The teams that made up the complement of Moondust were the same teams that made up the word UFO, unidentified flying object. Moondust was made public, and its mission to the public was to identify recover United States space hardware which might fall to Earth. Blah blah blah. So it's pretty quick. But this is the John Lear report, which he typed up in 1987, and this is like an old typewriter copy I have, like a Xerox copy.
Yeah, that looks official and old.
It was given. So I used to go to this local meetup. It was just like once a month. It was called the Coasties. It was people who listened to Coast AM. They would go meet up and just talk about. They still have something like it, but it's not the same anymore. And I did a presentation back in like 2018 on the secret space program there. And afterwards, the next month, this guy I didn't know gave me this John Lear report, and he was like, "Here, he goes, you need this more than I do," and he said, "Just keep it." And I was like, "Oh wow!" But you can find it online. It's also I scanned everything onto the computer and put it on Journey to Truth podcast website if anybody wants to read it. It's absolutely fascinating.
I think the links are in the description below on my YouTube.
Right. It discloses all kinds of stuff. This was in 87, but everything that we had known up to 87, like
Right.
It's
Can
just
you imagine
insane.
what we have learned since then? There's probably
Right.
so much shit.
Right.
Like, I can't wait to find it all out. I hope I'm alive. All right. Well, let's go with a little more modern conspiracy. Okay, going right to the news. You guys. I've been talking for the past few weeks. Um, I can literally go to the news to find conspiracy theory trivia questions. This is a good one, right?
Yeah.
The U.S. claims that Russia is going to do what as a false flag, as a pretext to invade Ukraine. Right? So this is real new news. The U.S. claims that Russia is going to do what as a false flag, as a pretext for the invasion of Ukraine. Is it A, carry out a kinetic attack within the Russian border and claim that it was Ukraine? B, claim that the U.S. hired mercenaries to carry out a chemical attack on the Russians? C, claim the Ukrainians carried out a critical infrastructure attack on Russia, cyber attack on Russia? Or D, release a fake video staged with crisis actors, explosions, and destroyed targets and blame Ukraine? Let me go through those one more again.
Those are all possible. I'm gonna go with A, but go
Okay.
ahead.
Right. So the U.S. is claiming that Russia is going to carry out what false flag and then use that as a reason to invade Ukraine? Is it A, that they're going to carry out a kinetic attack within the Russian borders, right? The Russians are going to attack themselves and blame it on Ukraine. Are they going to B, claim that the U.S. hired mercenaries to carry out a chemical attack? Or is it C, claim that the Ukrainians carried out a critical infrastructure cyber attack on Russia? Or D, release a fake video staged with crisis actors, explosions, and destroyed targets and then blame Ukraine?
So it's not A because everybody's saying C or D.
Right? They all sound legit though, right?
Um,
You'd be surprised. There's some sauce to more than one of those,
I believe that.
allegedly.
I believe that. All I know is that the U.S. is more worried about protecting the Ukraine border than they are about
It's
our own
crazy,
border.
right? Right?
Right.
And the
They don't
answer
even care.
is D, guys. It's the
Is it?
fake video, okay? But here, did you see? As a matter of fact, there was I was surprised. What was the guy's name? Matt, AP reporter Matt Larson, Matt somebody that went in on our State Department, like demanding to know. Like the dude got up there and he was like, "Yes, we have evidence that Russia is going to carry out a false flag." Uh, and the dude is like, "Well, what evidence do you have?" He's like, "I just gave it to you." The dude's like, "You telling me that they're going to do this is not evidence. Like, what actual
You
evidence
tell
do you?" Yeah,
that is the false flag.
yeah,
The
like you
guy, the
saying the
guy
shit is
giving
not
you,
evidence, man. He's
the
like,
guy giving you the warning is the false flag.
right.
That's
So
right.
that's pretty much what Matt was like. What the hell? Where's the evidence? Like, did you get something on paper? Like, how do you know what's going on? And of course, the State Department guy is walking it back, like, listen, you must not understand, how this works. Da 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 da. Like trying to tell the reporter guy. The reporter guy was like, ain't nobody trying to hear all that. Where's the evidence? So here's the thing, right? This is according to mainstream media right now. The U.S. has revealed new intelligence of a Russian plot to use a phony video as pretext for an invasion of Ukraine. Senior administration officials said Thursday that the U.S. believes Russia has already recruited players to stage a propaganda video depicting graphic scenes of a staged false explosion with corpses, actors depicting mourners, and images of destroyed locations and military equipment.
Like they did with COVID.
Imagine that. The White House publicized the Kremlin, how like China did with COVID to freak the world out when they had all them people falling out and shit. The White House publicized the Kremlin's alleged plans to fabricate an attack Thursday in hopes that it would dissuade Moscow from going through with its latest disinformation effort. Now, here in another example of Russia's, malign influence campaign and this is online, self-declared Russian federal news agency Aviapro published an article on January 23rd claiming the United States has begun moving its heavy tanks and light armored vehicles to the border with Ukraine, apparently preparing to use these vehicles to attack Russia. So there are news agencies in Russia, right, showing pictures of U.S. military hardware in Ukraine on the border that are supposedly going to attack the Russian people. Also, Moscow's online armies have spun out wild tales of disinformation accusing the U.S. of hiring mercenaries to carry out a chemical attack plot. So they're claiming that we've now hired mercenaries to carry out a chemical attack in Russia, right? This is what the Russian media is pushing to the people. So we've got
The,
crazy shit on both sides, right?
the whole thing to me is just fake. It's like they're making. I don't know why. I don't know why, but there's something going on there. It's like a big illusion. They know we can't prove any of it. You know, they can show us footage. They can tell us what they want. They give us the narrative. They give us the talking
It's the
points. It's
great
all
narrative.
right. It's all staged. There's nothing organic about any of this conflict. It's all, fabricated issues. It's all bogus. I'm
Well,
sorry.
what's interesting is at the end of that article that I just got all that information from, what they went after was Telegram channels,
Right.
disinformation networks on Telegram,
Yeah, I
right?
knew they've been going after Telegram.
That are supposedly pushing all of this disinformation, and so they're trying to find a way to stem the flow of this information coming from Telegram, which was noted in this article, which I thought was crazy. So yeah, so we
Right.
got real life conspiracy theories being carried out right now, right?
Think about. I know I already said it, but think about that. We're sending tanks over to protect the Ukraine border, while in the meantime we're letting everybody
In
through our border. Yeah, and not protecting, actually the opposite of protecting ours. It's like basically eliminating a border.
what
When we're
border,
at the
right?
same time
What
they're trying
border?
to at the same time they're everything's locked down and all these mandates because of this deadly virus, but they could care less on who's coming in. That can bring as many people as you want.
You know
Don't test.
what's crazy and what the Matt guy had brought up was like, okay, they act like this is like oh my god, the US government we'd never do anything like that, guys. We'd never do that, right?
Hmm.
And he brought up like weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Like we would totally say some bullshit, dude. We would totally say some bullshit. You know,
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
it's all
Oh, thanks,
bullshit.
Kitty Woo. Yeah, it's all some horse shit.
All right. So the Tibetan monastery, the Tibetan monastery of the Society of Green Men was a group of monks who claimed that they were in direct communication with which specific group of ETs?
Hmm. Green men,
A,
eh? Okay.
yeah, yeah. A, green dragons. B, green Martians from Mars. C, the Nagas. D, the Zeta Reticulans.
I'm gonna go with the Nagas.
So the Tibetan monastery of the Society of Green Men was a group of monks who claimed that they were in direct communication with which specific group of ETs? A, green dragons. B, green Martians from Mars. C, the Nagas. If you don't know who the Nagas are, it's a serpent being from India, the serpent snake beings from India. D, the Zeta Reticulans. What'd you say?
I'm going with the Nagas. I was just gonna say that. They're snake gods from India.
Right.
Yeah, honk honk. That's right, the honkening guys. It's honkening.
The honkening.
The honkening. It's happening.
All right. I got some literature on this one too.
Oh, literature.
Um,
I was gonna guess lizards, but you didn't have
we
lizards directly, so
we have C. Well, I just used exactly what the words they used, who they said they were communicating with. The answer is A, the
what?
Green Dragons.
Green dragons. Oh, damn
All
it.
right,
All right.
here we go. The exact location of the Tibetan monastery of the Society of Green Men is not known, and it is unlikely that Haushofer, it's a German guy, um, knew where it was. The monks communicated with the green dragons through the astral realm, so they never had to reveal where they were. In retrospect, it has become clear that the green men were connected with the huge underground empire of the reptilian extraterrestrials from Alpha Draconis, which is said to extend from southwestern Tibet all across the Indian subcontinent to Benares, India. This empire is called Patala, or Snake World, in Hindu mythology, and is said to be the home of the storied Nagas, or serpent race, who have been worshipped by some and feared as demons by others in India since ancient times. It is said to be a massive 7-level complex of huge caverns and tunnels deep underground. The serpent people are believed to reside there, mainly in their capital city of Bhogawati. I'll keep going. So actually, the green dragons technically were the Nagas
Also, it was a
slash
trick.
slash reptilians
Yeah, see, it's
slash
always the
yeah.
lizards, man.
But they in particular thought that they called them the green dragons because they didn't have another name for them at the time.
Seems legit.
It is known that there are at least 2 entrances to the world of the Nagas. One entrance is at the Shesna's well in Benares, and the other is in the mountains around the beautiful lake Manasaravar. I don't know if I'm saying that right. About 500 miles west of Lasha. At 15,000 feet elevation, it is the highest freshwater lake in the world and is said to be favored by Buddha as a meditative retreat. Bruce Allen Walton, also known as Branton, now deceased, has emerged on the internet as one of the most authoritative figures about the alien colonies on Earth. He claims that locals around the lake have reportedly seen the reptilians in that region and have seen their wingless flying craft entering and leaving the mountains. We know that the reptilians are closely associated with the so-called grays from the Zeta Reticuli, so it would be very likely that a gray colony also exists in Patala.
Hmm.
So, a bunch of shit going on
Well, I'm
underground in
sold.
Tibet.
I'm I am sold on that for sure. Thanks, Kitty Woo, for the cookie. Guys, I appreciate the gold pill love. If you want to donate directly, my Cash App is listed in the description below, or you can go to loyal2thefoil.com to do so directly. I appreciate you.
And that comes from The Secret Journeys Planet Serpo. I'm always talking about that book.
Serpo is another one of those like never-ending rabbit holes that I am almost completely convinced happened. Just so
Right. Well,
you know.
it's the one that Kennedy was aware
Yeah,
of it.
that's where they exchanged the people and they went out there and it was supposed to be for like what 12 years, but they ended up staying a
10,
little bit longer, or
it was
whatever.
supposed to be 10 years and they stayed for 13 years because the time there was different. There was 2 suns and none of their devices. They couldn't keep track of time. So what they thought was 10 years was actually 13 years of Earth time. But Kennedy authorized or signed the Kennedy directive in 1965 to basically, I don't know, either get funding for this Serpo mission or something, but he knew about it. Yeah, he absolutely knew that we were sending 12 astronauts to
Oh, Kennedy
space.
knew some shit, man. I'm convinced.
Yeah, at like 248 light years away. They explained the whole trip. It's like you read a journal of them training, them on the craft, going there, spending years on the planet, coming home, being debriefed. It's all here, and it's pretty wild stuff.
Yeah, you got some definitely interesting books, sir. That's for sure. For sure. Hey, Sucky.
Um,
Sucky,
yeah,
Sucky.
this book is a gold mine. It's not just about that mission. It
Hold that book up for them again. They're
there's
asking
so
on
much
Foxhole.
more. There's so much more in this book. It's not even that. It's like information overload. You can't retain it all in one shot. There's no way. It
Pr-
goes back. It starts in the 1800s and gives you. At first, it gives you a history of how we even developed a space program,
right.
so you can understand that this story is not just like somebody's account. Like they give you the history of everything leading up to 1965 and how we were able to make it into space, and then you get into their log, their journal. But it starts in the 1800s, and they talk about the reptilians or the cabal's 500-year plan. Like they have all these events planned out for 500 years.
Imagine that.
It's not just some like, oh, let's just do this and fuck with these people. No, it's a very well thought out thing. Your turn.
Don't mind me. All right, let me see. Let me see. What do we got here? What do we got here? All right, this is a weird one, okay? What is the name for the set of apocalyptic beliefs surrounding a tetrad, so 4, a tetrad of consecutive lunar eclipses? All right, what is the
Say that.
name for the set of apocalyptic beliefs surrounding a tetrad of consecutive lunar eclipses? Is it A, moons for Christ, B, the blood moon prophecy, C, the lunar eclipse correlation, or D, 4 moons over Armageddon?
I don't. I wish you'd have something that I knew.
Well, you knew some
I
of
like
these
the blood.
tonight.
The Blood Moon Prophecy sounds like it'd be a cool movie or book title, so
I
I'll
know,
go with
right?
it.
Sounds legit.
The Four Moons one, it sounds legit too. I
Four
don't know.
moons over Armageddon,
I'm gonna
right?
go with the Blood Moon
Blood
Prophecy.
moon prophecy. Final answer,
Sure, I have no clue.
right? And this is
Look at
this
that.
is
Journey to Truth on Gab. We are on Gab. We don't do anything on Gab, but we do have a Gab.
I post. Yeah, I'm on Gab too. I just post this show. I just post the link to the show. That's
Right.
it. That's as far as it goes. Let's see. I'm seeing B's and C's. Breast milk. Yes, obviously. It's breast milk and lizards, man, always. Um Suki says C. It is the blood moon prophecy, Tyler. See, you got this. This is
Boom.
this is crazy because when I was reading this last night, so the prophecy states that a tetrad coinciding with Jewish holidays, right? Which is weird, with 6 full moons in between. Like this is real specific, and no intervening partial lunar eclipses is the sign of the beginning of the end of times. I'm going to say that one more again for folks in the back. The prophecy states that a tetrad coinciding with Jewish holidays and with 6 full moons in between and no intervening partial lunar eclipses is the sign that it's done data. It's curtains, man. It's curtains, right? This concept was promoted by Christian ministers John Hagee and Mark Blitz. Now, this actually happened, right? The first eclipse in the tetrad was on April 15th, 2014, right? Then we had the second one on October 8th, 2014. Now, following all these specifics, there was another one on April 4th, 2015, and then the final one, wait a minute. The final one was on January 31st of 2018, which was during I don't know if you guys remember that, because Trump was still in office. It was a big news story. There was a rare super blue blood moon, spectacular extravaganza. It was all over the media, right? We
I
had that,
do remember. I do remember that.
right? So then I'm thinking like, damn, well, look at all the crazy, you know, of course, I'm prone to conspiracy theories, conspiratorial thinking. I'm like, look at all the crazy shit that's happened since then, right? Since January 31st of 2018. The prophecy related to the beginning of end times, and this is how the Christian ministers, this is how they co-sign this, right? As described in the Bible in the books of Joel, and then there was Acts 2:20 and Revelation 6:12. The idea of a blood moon serving as an omen of the coming of the end times comes from the book of Joel, where it's written, "The sun will turn into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord comes." Right? Then the phrase is again mentioned by St. Peter during Pentecost, which was the one in Acts, where Peter says that the date of the Pentecost, not some future date, was the fulfillment of Joel's prophecy. The blood moon.
Friday me says, "Damn it, I didn't get raptured."
I'm waiting. Maybe we're in the second group to go. I don't know. Then there was the stuff in the book of Revelation, chapter 6, verses 11 to 13. Verse 12 says, "And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood." So there's a lot of biblical reference to the blood moon, right? And it is weird that the final, blood moon eclipse in this tetrad with that coincided with Jewish holidays, and there were 6 full moons in between, there was no intervening partial lunar eclipses, right, was on January 31st of 2018. So I'm just waiting to see what happens, guys.
Right. Becky says, Becky Lou, blue blood isn't blue blood reptilian, or am I mistaken? Actually, it is, and that's the royal bloodline. Apparently, they call themselves the Blue Bloods, and they made it. It was their mission to basically spread their seed, their DNA, throughout every continent.
And their breast milk, I'm sure.
Right. So they wanted to have blood on every landmass on the planet. That was their goal. That was as part of their takeover. So no matter where you go, there's the blue bloods, and they believe that they have this crazy belief that they can't be held accountable for anything that they do.
Imagine
It's
that.
like I was just
It
reading about
wasn't
this.
me.
I was literally just reading about this today. The book's upstairs, but I wasn't paying that much of attention to it all. But yeah, something along those lines.
Uh, Joan of Sark says you need to make a book list. You need to post some sort of a reading
You know how many
list.
people have told me that? Aaron does too. He reads more than I do.
Man, I can't
Um,
imagine that. What, Alar, there better not be a spider in my house. He should be. Better get your friend and tell him he's got to go before I get done here. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying,
um,
sir.
the book, the blue blood information comes from Carrie Cassidy's book, The Rebel Gene,
That's
Secret
another one that
Space,
you talk about all the time.
Secret Space and the Future of Humanity. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's really good, actually. Uh, the way she writes it's not an easy read. It's frustrating the way she words her sentences. Like, it's just everybody has their own way of saying things, but
Right?
all
Can you
right.
imagine reading a book that I wrote? It would be phenomenally ridiculous. I'm convinced of
Would
that.
be the book. First of all, the book would be called "Bruh."
Bruh.
That's
Right?
it. By Loyal to the Foil.
Right? Bruh.
Right, bruh. All right, here we go. Lighten it up a little bit. Actually, maybe not. uh, an online conspiracy theory claims that this artist was actually a serial killer and his paintings were locations where he buried his bodies.
Oh, snap.
A. Adam Banksy. B. Andy Warhol. C. Bob Ross. D. Salvador Dali.
Man.
An
I don't know.
online conspiracy theory claims that this artist was actually a serial killer and his paintings were locations where he buried his bodies. A. Adam Banksy. B. Andy Warhol. C. Bob Ross. D. Salvador Dali.
I'm going to say if you can get a location out of a Warhol painting, I would be absolutely amazed. I can totally, as crazy, I can totally see Bob Ross being a serial killer. I'm just saying, right? Um, Dolly, he was just weird in general. I don't know. I'm going to go with Banksy just because.
Banksy allegedly has like weird ties to elites and
I
stuff. I
bet.
don't know. I've heard some stuff about him. My favorite story about Banksy was him hand forging like a money currency. He would literally hand draw like $100 bill or something, hand draw it on the rice paper, and he would go into like McDonald's and test it. And once he figured out that his fake money that he drew wasn't printed, he drew it, looked so good that it was passing in stores. That I think it was a $20 bill he did. He he actually turned himself in and said, "Hey, I drew this, and your money's easily counterfeitable."
Oh, good Lord. Right? That's some skill right there.
Yeah. Anyway, the answer is Bob Ross.
See, I'm, it's just something pegged me. He seems like he would murk you and then paint about it and talk about happy trees, man.
Right. Well,
What up, Warrior Biatch? Good to see you.
there's this whole thing on Reddit about it. Um,
Reddit is
and
where I get all of my most official information, just so you know.
and it's not really, there's nothing official, but I guess somebody was watching the show and they had basically just found a body somewhere next to this weird tree that was split or whatever. It's like specifically the guy remember watching this program where they found this body, and then he was watching this prior episode, this rerun of a Bob Ross show, and he painted the exact, he said it was exact same, looked like the exact same place, and he was using real word phrases like, "Oh, this is the." Like he was like the branches were broken. He'd be like, "Oh, this is the crime scene," and he had like broken branches. And he said, "Oh, I wonder who's buried here." Like he would say weird things.
I'm sold.
And they went
I'm
on and on.
convinced.
this guy went on and on with examples of like how, if you really think about, he's trying to tell you where the body's buried. Like the stuff he's saying gets super creepy, and like there's this whole Reddit feed on it.
Oh, I gotta
So
find that. I
I
definitely
don't
gotta find
know.
that now.
I don't know if it's legit or not, but a guy was flipping out, and then at the end of that one with the split tree, he was like, "I painted this one for my special friend, and I'm going to hand deliver it to him," and like just real weird things. And the guy's like, "This is the same tree where they just dug up a body." Like, uh,
I'm sold. I'm convinced. I got a new favorite conspiracy theory, guys.
there wasn't a whole lot on it and online at all. Reddit was the only place I found anything, and it just seemed like some guy just kind of
Reddit
coming
is
up with this
official,
on
man.
his
You can
own.
find all
Yeah,
kinds of crazy conspiracy shit on Reddit. Frightening me, yeah. Or maybe they all had bodies. That'd be interesting, right? Maybe he was like
right,
the most prolific serial killer in the history of serial killing, and he's just all his paintings, maybe, right?
right,
Who knows? Who knows? National forest disappearing people solved. Right, right. It was all
right.
Bob Ross.
Well, national forests beneath every national forest and park is a dome, apparently. And if they are doing experiments like Dulce, it's easy for a person to go missing. They just bring them right down below and traffic them wherever they need to.
That's crazy, right? Oh, I can see that. I can see that too.
There's a reason they're all closed at night and you can't go. All the above.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, Alara, as a matter of fact, Cheez-Its are one of the worst GMO things. I was just talking about that a couple of weeks ago, I think. Uh, Alara's on this Cheez-It thing recently.
Cheese it. I was thinking like I was just thinking about this today. If we could all see where our food came from,
Oh
we wouldn't
man.
eat shit.
Nope.
Like is even the cheese it, even whatever it is, any processed food, if you could see from start to finish the processing, the packaging, the how it was made, the ingredients, all the above,
Mhm.
you would not eat it. You just simply
Nope,
wouldn't.
probably not. Nothing that I
That's
didn't.
why that's why people like to ignore that fact because it's a lot easier just to enjoy the food instead of thinking about where it came from.
Well,
Like
even some of the, the food that they're like that they sell at Whole Foods and stuff, like that they claim is like, if vegan or vegetarian, like these hyper processed foods are
mhm.
horrible. Just
Right,
horrible.
right. Well, your body does two things. It turns the food into energy or fat. And the processed the what am I trying to say? The what's the what that keeps it that
The
keeps the food
preservatives.
lasting? Preservatives, thank you. The preservatives in the food stops your body from turning that food into energy, and it confuses your body, and your body
I
stores it
bet.
as fat. Your body stores it as fat. That's why you see like over in Europe, a lot of the same products, like ketchup, for instance, has like less than half, like a quarter of the ingredients than ketchup in America.
Oh yeah.
And all the even other junk foods, like and stuff like that, the ingredients are smaller. That's why you see these other cultures that aren't obese. They don't have the preservatives in their food.
Mhm.
They're still enjoying their treats, but their body is, turning it
Processing
into
it.
processing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And over here, it's processing it because it's all fake and GMO'd and preservatives, so it turns it into fat.
Man, and they push that shit everywhere, right? Everywhere. Uh, Let me see. We need to do one more. All right, we'll do one
I got one
more.
stupid one we can end on too. It's not. It's just for fun.
Okay. All right,
It's
I'll do one and then you do one and then we will wrap it up. All right. Uh what famous scientist supported Charles Hapgood's theory that Antarctica is actually Atlantis? Okay. Was it A, Isaac Newton, B, Albert Einstein, C, Madame Curie, or D, Carl Sagan? So, what famous scientist supported Charles Hapgood's theory that Antarctica is actually Atlantis? So, was it Newton, Einstein, Curie, or Carl Sagan?
I don't know. Sagan.
Final answer?
He was originally part of Majestic 12 also.
I
Nobody,
wouldn't doubt it.
a lot of people don't know that.
He
He
was
knew,
real pro. Like he went from being like all pro, there's life out there, to suddenly like,
right.
we're it.
No, apparently he knows all about the UFOs and ETs that are here. And he is telling you, he is storytelling now. He is not breaking script.
Man.
Well, he
Let's
wasn't.
see. I see a couple people got the right answer here. It is Einstein, right? It was actually Einstein. So this Hapgood guy, he was a college professor. He was an author. He was, they call it pseudo archaeology. Like he wrote this pseudo archaeological claim of a rapid and recent pole shift, right?
Hmm.
So in 1958, he published a book called The Earth's Shifting Crust, and it denied the idea of continental drift, right? And I mean, that was an idea that was not supported by mainstream science for about another decade. But the book included a foreword by Albert Einstein. And I know that we've talked about it on this channel before, but do you remember the map, the Piri Reis map? Uh,
I don't know. I'm terrible with names. You have to explain the map to
um,
me.
it was a depiction of Antarctica basically before it was covered with ice, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Um, so when he published this book, The Earth Shifting Crust, um, he proposed that the Earth's axis had shifted numerous times during geological history, and that the path of the pole was the follow-up book to that. So, and that was written based on Einstein's actual corrections. So Einstein had suggested that this was true, and that they went back to this Piri Reis map, right? And that a pole shift about 9600 BC, which would have been 11,600 years ago, that there was a 15-degree pole shift, and that part of the Antarctic was ice free at that time. That an ice age civilization was what mapped the coast. That this is where they got these old, like these maps from these ancient sea kings that actually show Antarctica as having life on it and stuff, like when they used to paint the maps or whatever. That there was, there was a civilization there that that was able to actually circumnavigate and map the coast there, and that there was this really, really dramatic pole shift that led to this freeze, and that's how they ended up frozen in
It's like
Antarctica.
a flash freeze. Yeah.
Yeah,
Michael Salo talks about that a lot.
yeah. So I mean, this
Um,
this Hapgood guy was
right.
the guy that said all, and Einstein co-signed it, like literally co-signed it.
I like that cartoon, The Inside Job on Netflix.
Man, that's a good.
They say that Atlantis never fell or sank. It's just
It,
they've been hiding it and covering it up all this time. And it's
yeah,
still there.
hell yeah.
And they said they're like, you know how many billions of dollars Google Earth has spent covering up Atlantis?
Man, they cover up everything on
Um,
Google Earth. Everything cool we find, they cover it up, man.
so here,
Frightening Me says, Perry Ray says he composed the map from much older source maps. Yes, I mean, they said that. That a lot of these maps were based on ancient maps derived from Ice Age originals. All right, after you, Tyler.
so this actual page in the Dulce report talks about Carl Sagan's involvement, and they're like, if Carl Sagan knows, then why is he committing then he is committing a great fraud through the solicitation of memberships in the Planetary Society to search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Another charade into which the U.S. government dumps millions of dollars every year is the radio telescope in all these other countries, blah, blah, blah. And they're all operated by guess who? Carl Sagan. And they're like, if he knows this, if he knows about this stuff, then he's committing a huge fraud, which they don't care.
And that's from the 1987 report where they were talking about that?
Right. Yeah. Specifically, this page is from 1987, but it goes on. So what you're reading here is a conversation, but it talks about Carl Sagan's involvement with Majestic 12, and eventually they repurposed him. Basically.
I bet they did.
So yeah, everything that he's been doing since 1987 is all fraudulent, and they funnel that money wherever they need to.
Well, I mean, these TV scientists, like he was real big. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Carl Sagan is dead now. But like all of these guys they put on TV, Neil deGrasse Tyson, like they tell these people what it is okay
Right.
to
Yeah.
say.
He.
You know,
Right. Right. And yeah, exactly. It's all a joke. All right. Last one. It's not even worth me making into a question, but just for fun. For $1 million, what does the acronym USAP stand for? A. United States Aerial Phenomenon. B. Unidentified Space Aerial Phenomenon. C. Unacknowledged Space Agency Program. D. Unacknowledged Special Access Program.
I'm gonna go with D.
D, you said?
Yes.
I will read them one more time. For $1 million, what does the acronym USAP stand for? A. United States Aerial Phenomena. B. Unidentified Space Aerial Phenomena. C. Unacknowledged Space Agency Program. D. Unacknowledged Special Access Program.
Yeah, I'm going with unacknowledged special access program.
The only reason I looked that up because I was reading a book and then this is the USAP, and I'm like, I was drawing a blank. I could not think of it. I was like, I wonder how many other people don't know what it means right off the top of their head. So I figured I'd turn it into a question.
What do we got? A, D, A, C. We're all over the board here.
It is D.
Ha!
Unacknowledged Special Access Programs.
Woohoo! Woo! All
That.
right.
So who got it right? I will mail you $1 million check tomorrow.
I will be expecting it from your DWAC stuff.
My ass
Yeah.
wang.
Yes, and the ass wangs, guys, with the breast milk. Just know that, okay? It's important. That's what we learned here today.
Right.
All right. Actually, we talk about a lot of crazy shit on the show. That's for sure.
Tonight was a fun one.
Right? This was good.
Tonight was a
This
good one.
was
Yeah.
good. All right, guys. What? I hate to even ask what you got coming. Nothing. It's classified. Tyler won't tell us what he has going on this week.
I will tell you guys just because
look
it's
at that.
interesting. So we have Eve Lorgen. I feel bad. I don't even know how to say her last name. So she's the author of Love Bite: Alien Interference in Human Relationships.
Ooh.
And she's
we talking about alien sex?
Right.
Look at that.
This is a legitimate thing that I even think I experienced. They can create that false twin flame connection. So one person is in love with somebody, but the other person doesn't love them back, and it's almost like they're under a spell.
Oh, that sucks.
So it creates all this heartbreak for this one person, and it's a loosh farming triangle. So one person's in love with somebody else who's in love with somebody else. So it's like a train of people like who are all in love with another person, but the love isn't reciprocated. So one person each person is being heartbroken by somebody else. And it's all done with extraterrestrial interference.
Loosh farming. That sounds horrible.
Right. Specifically reptilians.
Of course.
And they do this to, literally farm loosh, and they literally destroy people's lives like this. And it's an absolutely insane book, but we're going to have her on. We're going to talk about that and a whole bunch of other stuff. She has some crazy ET experiences herself. So we're going to be getting into.
Is that Thursday?
That'll be Thursday night.
At 8 o'clock Eastern or 9 o'clock Eastern?
8
Eastern.
8 Central. 9 Eastern.
See?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, guys, go check that out. Thank you, Kitty Woo, for the cookie. I released the scratch-in for you guys on Foxhole. DLive doesn't have a chest anymore, so I don't even have to click on that. What else? You guys know Space Force News is back, so we will be there Sunday at 9 p.m. on 1 Foot in 5D. Make sure you come check that out. Guys, like, share, subscribe. Help me get this crazy info to the masses. They need to know about the lizard breast milk, man. They got to know. And the ass wangs. We cannot let this die, all right? What else? Yeah, that's it, guys. Much love. And until next time.
Good night, guys. Come to our conference.
Come to the conference. We demand
Buy a
it.
ticket.
Buy a ticket.
Come hang out.
Oh yeah.
It's
The
at-
links are in the description below, guys. You can click on those.
Secretspaceconference.info.
There you go.
I'm excited just to see everybody and hang out with everybody in person. I already can't wait for the end of the day, each day at the conference, just so we can
Just so
all
you can just hang out, right?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Bonfires, Skywatch, Lala
Right.
Deaton's gonna.
Are we gonna catch Yetis with peanut butter?
We can try.
That's it. That's all I want to. Okay, not Yetis, Sasquatches. You gotta catch. I heard peanut butter and apples and shit, right?
Yeah, it is whatever. If they want to, if they want to show themselves, they will.
Right.
You don't need anything but a pure heart, really.
There you go. Pure. I will purely ask to meet a Sasquatch. As long as he's not grabbing on my ass, Tyler. That's your thing.
That happens.
That's what I hear. That's what I hear.
Becky Lou has got her ticket. UFO Mark has got his ticket.
Hey, Aaron. What up, Truth Quest with Aaron Moriarty? Go check his channel out. He's tons of fun. Good to see you here.
Right. Yeah. What's up, Aaron? Good night, Mana Soul Essence. That's my lady friend from Australia.
Ooh, an Aussie.
An Aussie.
An
Aussie. They're so weird. They have the weirdest ways of speaking compared to what we do.
I love it.
It's not weird. It's not weird for them, but it's just complete like.
We probably sound weird as shit to them, you know?
Exactly. Like if you say trash can to them, they look at you like you're crazy. It's a rubbish bin.
Rubbish bin.
Yeah.
See, I know this. I know this, man.
Right. Stuff like that's funny. Sam Squinch. Somebody's watching Trailer
Sam
Park Boys.
Squinch, right? Awesome. I'm about to go watch Bob Ross videos and see if I can find the bodies.
Right?
That's gonna be. You think I'm joking? That's gonna be my new favorite thing for at least 2 days.
Well, he's on Netflix.
That's right.
Like, of course they would add Bob Ross to Netflix. The Satanist.
Yeah, buddy. All right, guys. Good night.
Oh, somebody said, no, we don't. Scott Robinson must be an Aussie. Sorry, I love you guys. I seriously do. And I plan on visiting. I can't wait to get over there. I know it's crazy, but I know the land is beautiful and I shall explore.
One of these days when
they
will let us in.
I love the culture. Right? I love the culture. I'm going to be Crocodile Dundee. Best part of that movie is when he throws the can at the robber. You ever seen that?
Mm-mm.
Like the guy is like steals a